time no see, man.
Yes, sir, bro.
How we doing?
Good, bro.
Appreciate you
Stopping by, man.
Had to, man. You down in my parts now, man.
Yeah, bro.
How to come say what's
It's
up?
hot in Florida, bro.
Way too hot, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. Earlier, I walked outside and it was cool in here. I was like, bro, I can't breathe out here.
Hey, if I'm not on the course by 7 a.m., bro, I don't know if I can make it.
Bro,
I'm
honestly,
sweating.
you need to tell me about though, like what clubs to get because I've been hearing about getting on the course. I just gotta get out there.
I got you, bro.
I don't have a clue what I'm saying.
Welcome back to the Stuck in My Thoughts podcast. It's the place you want to be to hear one-of-a-kind POV. As always, I'm your host, Justin Stuckey, and we're joined today by a man who is gained so many titles since the last time I talked to him. He is now a quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, Chris Oladokun. Bro, appreciate you being on the show, man.
Appreciate you having me, man. Glad we could finally chop it up and get it done, man.
It's been a minute. When's the last time I seen you, dude?
I want to say Samford. So,
Yeah.
shoot, that was like 2021, 2020, somewhere around there. So it's been a minute, man.
A lot has happened since then, and a lot has happened just in your life, especially on your college journey. You went from South Florida to Samford to South Dakota State. That's a lot of different schools, you know?
For sure, yeah.
How would you describe your college journey as a whole?
Wild, for sure. I mean, when I got into college, we're here in Tampa, where I'm from. So playing at USF was my dream. And, to be there for 3 years and then, things don't really work out the way I wanted them to or planned. And then I go to Samford. First time I'm ever living outside of Tampa, ever living outside of Florida. I go to Alabama. So that was like a huge culture shock for me. And I loved my time there, made some really good friends. And then obviously things started not to work out there too. And I'm like, man, like, why does this keep happening to me? Like all this adversity for what? And luckily I have a really good support system, a lot of really good friends and family. They're like, you know what you can do, sort of believe in yourself. And that's when I went to South Dakota State. And I feel like not only, my play on the field, but mentally, I was just such in a good headspace when I got to South Dakota State.
What do you feel like it was at Samford? Like, I'm big on my show just about being real. I know the Samford experience.
Sure.
When you came in, I remember it was really hype. Like, oh, we got this new signee from South Florida, like good quarterback. We got, replacing Doug. Doug had just left and doing big things, so we felt good about it. Your first year there, things were going great.
Yep.
And then the next year, you kind of like were switching reps between Liam Welch. So like for you, how was that? There's a lot of guys out there that are gonna go through that or have gone through that.
Yeah.
You said you were in a better mental space when you went to South Dakota State. What was it about your time at Samford that kind of had you in the limbo?
Well, Samford, I originally went there because CJ Bennett, he's actually my quarterback coach now. He was a running backs coach at Samford.
Oh, dang.
And so I've been training with him and his dad since I was, 10 years old. So I get there, and then he bounced like 2 weeks later, which I still give him crap about.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, bro, you brought me to Birmingham and left me. But I got there, and so when he left, I already sort of felt a little uneasy because I'm like, I don't know anyone here. But at the same time, I feel like I'm a pretty outgoing dude and can make friends. And I feel like that first year, I felt really good about, things that I had done on the field and felt like I was in a good place. And then, at the end of the day, I felt like, they had Liam was from Georgia, been at Samford for, how X amount of years. Everyone loved him. I love Liam. Liam was a great teammate, even though we were competing. There was never any beef or it was awkward for both of us because we were friends and we did hang out off the field and all that stuff. But on the field, there's only going to be one guy starting. So that next year, going into that COVID year, it was really tough for me, like you said, being, this big time kid coming in and thinking, this is my team. And then all of a sudden I go from having a pretty good year to not really playing that next year. And so there was definitely a lot of adversity through that. I mean, Jeremy, Ty, and Emmett, those are my guys still to this day. And at Samford, I really leaned on them because they saw how hard it was for me because I came to Samford and I was like, you know what, I'm coming here. I'm using this as a stepping stone to get to the league. And so that second year when I wasn't really playing, I was like, this may be it. I'm not sure what's next, So it was tough for sure.
I got you. So when you think about it, you have gone from 3 different schools, and the only way to get there is through the transfer portal. And both you and I have both used the transfer portal. Being somebody that's been a beneficiary of the transfer portal, where do you feel like we need to draw the line between waiting your time to be able to get that rep and get that position,
Yeah.
and okay, I need a new change of scenery?
So that's a really good question, because even when I was transferring to South Dakota State and I'm talking to all these schools before I even signed there, you know, they were sort of trying to figure out like, well, there's got to be a reason you're about to be in your third school, like whether it's, you know, grades or, you know, attitude, locker room, like how's he in the locker room, or maybe just ability. Like people were trying to figure it out, and they would ask me bluntly, and I'm like, hey man, like I feel like I'm a really good teammate. You know, I'll do anything for the team. Even that second year at Samford, like they put in quarterback run packages for me that I necessarily didn't want to do, but I felt like I could help the team in that way. So I did it. And so, you know, I think kids now are so easy to just run to the transfer portal after 1 year. Like I just don't. I'm a competitor just like you. Like,
Yeah.
You know, I want to play against the best. I want to compete against the best. So it sort of sucks how it is now, and seeing kids just get up and leave after one semester because, say they aren't playing, or say they aren't getting paid enough money now with NIL, which is
A whole nother story.
a whole nother story, which is even crazier now. So I would love to see more kids, you know, sort of stick it out for at least a couple of years and sort of develop and grow and sort of figure themselves out. Because I mean, if I was sitting behind Quinn Flowers at USF, one the greatest player to ever play there, and I could have left after a year, but you know, I just love the, you know, competitive nature of, you know, the quarterback room and what it brings.
Yeah, and your journey just worked out for you, and you talked about how you wanted to use, you know, Samford as a stepping stone to get to the league, but end up being South Dakota State.
Yep.
And you got to the league, and you got an experience that not many people get, and that's getting drafted.
Yeah.
What was the phone call like? What was that experience like for you to know all the stuff you've done for 20-something years prior has paid off to get you to the league?
It was a surreal moment. It's a moment that, you know, I'll never forget. My family, friends that were there, will never forget. Like you said, since I could hold a ball in my hand, you know, that was always my goal, like playing the NFL. This is what I want to do. And so my dad literally sat me down when I was like 5 years old, and he was like, what position do you want to play? And I told him quarterback, and he was like sort of shocked, and he was like, all right, well, if that's what you want to do, like it's going to take a lot of work. So just seeing those little memories of, you know, what it took to get here is insane. And that day I just remember getting the call, and I'm drafted in the 7th round. So, you know, there's a lot of nerves that go into, you know, it's a long day. Draft starts at like 10 a.m. that day. I have family and friends all like at an Airbnb, everyone sort of inside, like drinking, partying, and I'm outside like on the phone to my agent and my quarterback coach, just freaking nervous, because I'm like, as you know, every pick goes by, you're like, all right, there's less probability.
Yeah.
And so Coach Tomlin had called me and you know, told me that they were taking me with the next pick, and I just remember just like blacking out pretty much, like, wow, this is unreal. And then obviously you see on the screen your name get called, and you know, family goes crazy. And it was emotional just because of all the adversity I had to go through, you know, going through 3 schools and, you know, sort of being counted out, you know, it was something that, you know, I'll never forget.
So when you get there, what do you feel like the biggest adjustment you saw immediately from college to professional ranks?
If you're in the NFL, you're a dude. Like there's no, like even in college, like at the highest levels, like there'll still be a couple dudes that like maybe aren't as good, or like everyone in that locker room in the NFL was a dude where they came from. And so you immediately see that, you know, guys that quote unquote suck on social media that dudes are roasting or, you know, messing up parlays for them, like those guys are really good at what they do, and they're in the room for a reason. So that was the biggest difference I saw for sure.
Dang, that's what's up right there.
And then it's crazy because now I'm a rookie. I'm walking in the locker room. I'm walking by T.J. Watt, you know, Cameron Hayward, you know, all these guys that I've watched for years, and I'm like, this is wild. Like I'm sitting here just having lunch with these dudes now.
Were you ever like starstruck?
Yeah. I mean, anyone that says they're not when they get to the league is a liar. Like you definitely, like you're sitting across from T.J. Watt, you're like, all right, like that's T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty cool. But obviously the longer you're in it, the longer, you know, it's sort of, that's just normal now.
Yeah, and you said you faced some adversity when it came to the college ranks, but you faced some adversity when it came to the professional ranks, just some changes and things happening. You know, you get drafted by the Steelers, then you get cut by the Steelers, then you get picked up by the Chiefs, then you're on practice squad, different things like that. How do you stay focused when there's so much change happening around you?
It's honestly just become the new norm for me now. I think college really prepared me for, things aren't always just going to be smooth and, cut and dry. It's at the end of the day, like we were talking about before this, it's a business. And, that was my first sort of, welcome to the NFL. Like, it's a big business thing. I didn't even get to play in the preseason when I was in Pittsburgh. And so that was tough for me, but at the same time, I understood, we had drafted Kenny in the first round. We had 2 good veteran backups as well. And so they were trying to figure out that situation. And so I think the best part about it all was that Coach Tomlin was very transparent with me when I got cut and, giving me an opportunity to, even cut me earlier than, the last cut of the last preseason game, just so I could find another opportunity.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing in disguise, and I'll always respect and love Coach Tomlin for that, because he really did look out for me in terms of that. And then legit, I got cut, and before I even got to my hotel, I was on the phone with the Chiefs. So it all just sort of worked out. Talk
kind of more about that process, because before the camera started rolling, we talked about the business side of the NFL, and I don't think a lot of people realize that the NFL is a business. It's more than just you sitting on your couch eating wings and watching guys play football. There's a business aspect to it. What is that process like when a team informs you you're cut? What do you do next? I'm sure your head is spinning, world's turning, trying to figure out what's next. Yeah, well, what's crazy is the day I got cut, the night before that, I was talking with my guy DY down in Pittsburgh. And, I'm a drafted guy, so he's like, yeah, have you found an apartment around here? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm just sort of waiting to see what happens with preseason. And he's like, nah, you should definitely start looking for an apartment. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm legit starting to look for apartments now. And then that next morning, I'm warming up. They didn't just call me as soon as I woke up, hey, come in, we're cutting you. I'm on the field warming up, about to go through a whole workout, routine. And we call them the Grim Reapers. And you just know when you see them. And I saw him walking out to the field, and he was like, Chris, they want you upstairs. And if you get that, hey, they need you upstairs, bring your iPad, it's over. Oh, my God. And so I got cut, and then you just, especially, you just start to panic a little bit, especially being a rookie. You're like, well, what do I do? I just got here. I'm in a hotel with all my stuff. My truck's full of clothes and stuff. How am I going to get my truck back to my next place? There's just so many different factors, and luckily for me, I don't have a family yet, but that's what a lot of fans don't realize. When guys get cut, that's affecting not only that guy, but that's affecting families. You're having to move, kids, any pets. You got to figure out if you have a house, what you're gonna do with it. So there's a lot of moving parts that go into it. It can be stressful, but I'm glad that I sort of went through that process, and sort of just made me realize, that this is a business. And so Hard Knocks is not fake. That's how it actually happens. No, Hard Knocks is for real. Hey, bring your iPad. You're out. Yeah. It's just like that. So when you get the call from the Chiefs, how does that process go? Now I'm in Pittsburgh. I got to get to KC. Yeah. I'm up and running, and you're in a whole new system. How was that process for you specifically? Yeah. So like I said, before I even got to the hotel, I'm on the phone with Coach Nagy, our offensive coordinator, and he's like, hey, man, sorry about the news, heard about it. I had talks with Kansas City, the day I got drafted, and they were possibly looking at drafting me in the 7th round as well. So it was almost just sort of a match made in heaven, in terms of, a place that I wanted to go, in terms of playing behind someone that, I looked up to for, X number of years, just in terms of the quarterback position. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going from Pittsburgh. I flew from Pittsburgh to Tampa. I was in Tampa for 24 hours, flew out to KC, did a physical and everything, and signed that day. And then I was in KC. Dang. So it was a wild 48 hours for me. Quick turnover, man. Y'all don't understand the business side of the NFL, but now you do. It's crazy, man. Yeah. It's crazy. You talked about this earlier. When you told your dad asked you what position you wanted to play in football, and you said quarterback, and you said he was a little shocked. I saw somewhere, may have been on an interview previously, you said that you told a Little League coach you wanted to be a quarterback, and he always told your dad, oh, he's going to be a running back, or he's going to be a receiver, and you had that, chip on your shoulder to prove him wrong. Why do you feel I've seen this around a lot of times growing up, why is it that a lot of coaches will be hesitant to put a black athlete as a quarterback and put him in other skill positions, you feel like?
Well, especially at those times, like, the early, mid-2000s, I mean, there just wasn't a lot of, black quarterbacks in the league. I mean, there was Michael Vick, maybe Vince Young,
McNabb.
a little bit, McNabb. But, I mean, it wasn't like today's where, like, more than half of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL are black. Like, that just wasn't a thing. And at the time, the big, like, prototypical quarterback, 6'4", 6'5", dude, that was what was in. And so I just remember, like, I always wanted to be a quarterback, and I could throw. I played baseball, so I could already naturally throw. But we had a kid that was, like 5'10" already at like age 9. So they're like, oh, he's gonna be a quarterback.
He's gonna be that guy.
Yeah, he's gonna be our quarterback. And I was always fast. So I played running back, and it was fun, and I loved it. But at the same time, I was like, well, why can I not be a quarterback? And so I sort of felt that like tension, and my dad was like, listen, like my son, like if he's not good enough, he's not good enough. But he's like, I'd put my money on him any day. So I'll never forget that coach, sort of telling my dad like, nah, he won't ever be a quarterback. And so I'd love to see what he thinks now.
You want to shout out the coach?
Nah, I don't want to sell nobody out like that. But
yeah, man, you should have believed in Chris though, bro.
Should have, man. It's all good though. It was good for me because it gave me a chip on my shoulder at a young age.
That's what's up. And you talked about how there's not. Well, now it's different. Back then, it wasn't as many black quarterbacks. They weren't as prominent in the league. But we have a ton of black quarterbacks that are showing at the NFL level. Who are the top 5 black quarterbacks in the NFL today?
Oh, man. Well, of course, my guy Pat, for sure. Lamar, Jalen, C.J. Stroud. After this last year, he really impressed me, and I feel like everyone in the league. And then I know I'm forgetting someone right now, and I don't want to leave anyone out.
We got one more spot.
5. Might have to throw some names out there. Who else do we got in the league right now?
Well, we'll see what Caleb Williams does.
Yeah, I mean, I think Caleb Williams definitely has potential to be really good in the league. Jaden Daniels too is someone that I think is really, really good. So yeah, I'll put them as I feel like I'm forgetting someone in the league. Yeah, there we go. Russ. Yeah.
Russ. Yeah. Okay, we'll put Russ at 5.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Well, your number 1 guy, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
How is it competing for a spot with one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, in Pat Mahomes?
It's great, man. I've learned so much, the past 2 years, just being in that QB room with him and just really becoming a sponge, The first year I got there, I'm a rookie. I'm trying to figure out my routine. I'm trying to figure out like what I need to do to take care of my body, how to study all those little things. And I sit right next to him in the QB room, and I just watched him that whole entire year. I watched everything he did, how he took notes, when he got in the building, how he took care of his body, how he watched film. And so I took that, and then last year I feel like I developed my own routine of like, all right, this is what he does, but like, I'm going to take little things that works for me in terms of studying film and, weight room stuff, and then, sort of emulate and put that into my own routine. So it's been a blessing, man. And, everyone gets to see what he does, on Sundays, and obviously the best player in the world right now. But, people don't see behind the scenes, like, great dude. I'm very fortunate to, be behind someone that, not only is, the best at what he does, but also like genuinely cares about the people around him. He's definitely, sort of taking me under his wing, and any questions I ever have or anything I ever need, he's always there to answer for me. So it's been a blessing.
Yeah, I heard that you were calling him, letting him know how the team was looking when you guys were doing the OTA reps and stuff.
Yeah, during rookie minicamp, he'd call me just to see, how the guys like Xavier Worthy and,
Is he fast like that?
Yeah, no, he's fast. He's fast for. I know you're a track guy.
Yeah.
Hey, he's moving.
He's
for
moving
real.
like that.
He's moving for sure. So I'm excited. We're all excited that we got him on board too. But yeah, man, just sort of having the open conversation with Pat too, just letting him know, what he does really well, and he was always just checking in and making sure everything's going good. So.
Yeah. That's a leader right there, man.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, he's the best. He's the best I've been around.
So when you're playing behind a guy who may be, when his career is over, one of the greatest quarterback ever to play the game, is there a complacency factor for you? Like, are you showing up every day to, I'm trying to get a starting job? Like, how does that work in the mindset of, okay, I got one of the GOATs playing the position, but I'm here too, and I'm trying to get what I've got to get done.
There's no complacency in the NFL. I feel like once you get complacent, that's when you get booted out the door. So for me, it's just knowing your role, and that's something that I feel like I've really understood. And being in Kansas City the last 2 years, like what can I do? What value do I bring to help our team keep winning Super Bowls? It's easy to say like, oh, he's on practice squad, like guys, on Twitter and stuff like that, like, oh, well, he didn't do anything in the games. Yeah, 100%. I get that. On Sundays, I'm not out there throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. But Monday through Friday, I'm busting my ass like I am starting. I'm preparing. Whatever Pat does, I'm preparing just like that.
Yeah.
So if something were to happen, mentally, I'm ready to go in. Physically, I'm ready. I'm getting workouts in. I'm getting extra lifts, extra throws after practice, just to sort of stay in shape. And you never know when your opportunity is going to come in this league. So I just sort of stay ready at all times. And Pat does a really good job, and our coaches do a really good job of making sure that the guys behind Pat are just as ready as he is in terms of just gameplay and film study and stuff like that.
That's what's up right there. So I got to ask you this question because it was all over social media. And from the outside looking in, everybody wonders what it's like. How is it like being on the Kansas City Chiefs during the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift hype era?
It's definitely a wild ride. I'll tell you that much. If you would have told me last year that, they'd be together and we'd have the whole, Swiftie army behind us, I would call you a liar.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool to see, up close and personal. Trav is another one of those, obviously the greatest at what he does, but also off the field, like one of the greatest dudes. I'm talking about like would take care of everyone, really cares about, his teammates and people around him. And then, Taylor, obviously, I'm not even gonna sit here and lie, like, yeah, I've been jamming to Taylor Swift since like 06 or something. Like I know like her bangers and stuff like that, and but she's obviously the best at what she does as well. So to see them both, at the top of, their respective, games, and for them to be together, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. A lot of people were like, dang, they show T Swift more than they do the game. But I'm like, bro, I can only imagine how hyped that is. Like, was it ever a distraction in the locker room?
No.
Okay.
Everyone thought it was, but to us, it was honestly funny. Like, and at the same time, like, we're playing in the game, so everyone's talking about the broadcast, and they keep showing her, like, we don't see that. We don't really care. We just know, like, that's Trav's girl. Like, she's at the game. What do you expect her not to come to games because of who she is? So yeah, people blow it out of proportion, but it's the media. They got to.
Yeah.
So.
See, that's why I like to have the show. We got a one-of-a-kind perspective right here, man.
It is what it is, man. But she's awesome. She's been out and around with us. So I knew how famous she was, like, but I didn't really know, like, for real. Like the first game she came to Kansas City. We all went out to like a little like restaurant after, get some food, just like some team camaraderie stuff. And so Trav's like, obviously, like, if you have your girls, like bring them through, blah, blah, blah. So me and Tommy, our punter at the time, we're pulling up, get out of the Uber, and I kid you not, there's like 60 girls just outside of this restaurant. And the restaurant's just for us, like bought it out. So I'm like, what's going on? And we're sort of walking up, and they're like, are you guys going to eat dinner with Taylor and Travis? And I was like, no way. And I'm talking about out here with signs like, Taylor, we love you. This is after a game, like midnight. And that's when I really knew. I was like, all right, she's like that.
She's like that.
Yeah, she's like that.
Yeah, so I had Laura Rutledge on, who's host of NFL Live SC Nation, like a couple weeks back. And she went to a concert, Taylor Swift concert in Paris. And I was like, is the Taylor Swift concert really worth the money? And she was like, by far, yes. Like, the experience is different. Like, she's worldwide famous, and I didn't realize that beforehand either.
And it's crazy because even just talking to Trav about it, like he's been over, overseas with her and all those concerts, and obviously been to some concerts here in the States, and he's like, it is almost like infinitely better over there than here, because over there, like, everyone's in the moment. There's no like phones out and everyone recording. Like, everyone's just singing every single one of her songs word for word, and he's like, it's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I heard she be getting it in. So shout out to T.
Yeah,
Swift,
shout out to Taylor, man. Shout out to Taylor.
Okay, so you've had a lot of titles, but I feel like the coolest one right now is you're a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Has a nice ring too.
Yeah, man. How's that feel?
It's still surreal, man. You know, we just got our second rings the other day, so you know, if you would have told me I'd be a 2-time Super Bowl champ back to back to start my career, it's not too bad, man. Batting 1,000 right now.
Yeah,
so,
that's super too. That's crazy.
Batting 1,000. So you know, we're focused on getting 3 now. I think that's the goal. Something that's never been done, and I feel like everyone in that locker room, there's a singular focus on. You know, like let's go make history now. So you know, getting 2 was nice, but 3 will really cement us. You know, at an even different level.
I saw the ring ceremony. We talked a little bit about it before the camera started rolling, but give people like an insight of what is that night like when you have the ring ceremony?
It's a good night to bring everyone back together because, you know, there's guys from the prior team that, you know, go and get, you know, whether it's bigger contracts or traded or so it's good to see some of those guys come back, and then it's good people have their, you know, wives, girlfriends, significant others, you know, they get to come in too. So to bring everyone together and, you know, just sort of have some dinner, you know, have a couple drinks, and then good music, and then, you know, once the rings come out, that's when turns into a little bit of a party at that point because everyone's just trying to flex their new bling. So
hey, I saw the pictures. That joint was turned.
Hey, it was lit. I'm trying to tell you, it's definitely a good time. I will say one thing in Kansas City, we know how to work hard and play hard for sure.
That's what's up.
And I feel like I think that's what separates us from a lot of teams. Like we genuinely like being around each other. Like whether it's, and we'll go out, whether it's going to Top Golf, we'll just go and sit at someone's house and watch games all day. Like we're constantly in group chats talking about like, hey, you see that play that just happened? Or like we genuinely love being around each other, and I think that's what makes, you know, our organization special.
I feel like that's key as a team because you hear about a lot of great teams who didn't like each other after, like, you think about like the early 2000s Shaq and Kobe era, like they're winning titles, but they hate each other at the time. But I think it's really huge to where the team aspect, I mean, you just heard Brady talk about it, the aspect of a team sport and team wins over individual wins are so significant because everybody plays a factor. You talked about, you may not see me on Sunday, but Monday through Friday, I'm going hard to make sure our team's prepared to go out there and win games that ultimately win Super Bowls. So it ultimately, like, everybody plays their own role. So it's just really cool to see and hear from somebody with your point of view to show, hey, no matter who you are, no matter what role you play, at the end of the day, it all comes together in 2-time Super Bowl champ.
100%. And I think the coolest moment for me, at least in my, you know, 2-year career so far, other than, you know, the Super Bowls, this past year, obviously we played the Ravens in the AFC Championship, and, you know, big game. We're a big underdog. You know, everyone wanted to see Lamar go to the Super Bowl, and we're on the road and stuff like that. And that whole week, I was Lamar Jackson. So I'm just like, I'm watching tape on him, just like how he moves, you know, when he spins out of the pocket, which way is he going? How is he moving in the open field, things like that. So I'm playing Lamar all week, and it was really fun. I love getting to play guys like him because they just sort of, you know, give me the keys and they're like, hey man, just go ball out. And, you know, that's what I love to do. And so obviously we win the game. And so we do player every single game. There's offense, defense, and special teams like player of the game. And Coach Reid was like, hey, this has never been done before, but our defensive player of the game, and he said my name. And like the defense was fired up for me, like, and just to have that validation, like, you know, like we need you, like you helped us win this game, is something that you know, something that I'll never forget. Because you're like, all right, like I'm not waking up at 5:30 every morning like for nothing. Like I'm valuable to this team. So anyone out there that's like, you know, whether it's practice squad or not playing a lot, like you just got to find your role and find a way to help the team in any way possible.
That's great right there. You wouldn't. That's why I love the show. You wouldn't even heard that story.
Exactly. And I haven't told anyone but you. So
hey,
that's some exclusive stuff right there.
That's what's up right there. Chris won the game.
I ain't saying all that. Nah.
But you definitely prepared them. They had it. You guys put on a great performance though, and definitely shut down. And you talked about one of the greatest quarterbacks in the game right now. Is so mobile and can throw, even though a lot of people can doubt his throwing ability. I don't know why.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, but for you guys to be able to go put on a show like that was really cool. But winning the Super Bowl also allowed you guys to go to the White House recently. How was that experience? I've been to the White House one time, but I've never been in there and never been in there as a Super Bowl champion. So.
It's cool. And I mean, like you said, everyone they don't just give out like free passes like, hey, come on to the White House. So it's definitely, it's really cool. to go back-to-back years. And so last year we got to see, one of the main floors, and they're like giving us facts about like all the, portraits in the house, like why this is there, how long. There's items that have been in there since, the first president.
Dang.
And so you're looking at real history. And I just remember I'm sitting down sort of just like this, and there's a table right in the middle. And the Secret Service guy is like, hey, you know how much that table is? And I'm like, it's probably expensive. It's in the White House. I'm like, what, probably like $100,000? $7 million table. And I had like my water on it. So I'm like, my water's like right here. And he told me that. I was like, all right, let me like, I don't want no smoke with you guys. So like little stuff like that is something that like I'll be able to tell my kids and stuff one day and have good memories. And then we got to go to the Oval Office this year, which is like, and I got to like sit in the chair where, president's making all the big decisions and everything, so it's definitely a cool experience.
Don't they have like a trap door?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
it's wild. And I was messing with all the Secret Service people. I'm like over here like banging on walls. I'm like, trap door? Or what's up? And they're all just like, what are you talking about? So I'm glad they're doing their job because they're supposed to be telling some normal dude like me what's going on.
That's crazy, man. Just that experience. Okay, where do you keep your Super Bowl rings now that you have 2? Where does that go?
So we get pretty sweet cases that they keep them. So I usually take them with me. They're like my babies now. Yeah. So whenever I travel, go back to KC, I'll bring them with me. But during training camp, I actually leave them here in Tampa. Okay. I'm not gonna give out no locations because I'm trying to get robbed or anything like that. But like they stay with family members here, and they get to flex them or whatever they want.
You got your own Secret Service.
Yeah, exactly. They locking it down for me. So.
Okay, we're in Tampa, hometown kid here, and this question has been thrown around and debated on for centuries. And I'm gonna give you an opportunity. I'm gonna give you 2 chances. What state produces the best athletes?
Come on, you know this. It's Florida. It's not even a. It's funny you say this because I probably have this debate at least once a month with somebody, because obviously we have. Pat's from Texas, so he's always talking about Texas football. Then, we have the guys from Cali that are like, oh, Cali's the best. Yeah. There's no better athletes than Florida. And it's just as simple as that.
Okay, I respect. So how did my team chaplain say? I respect your decision to be wrong. Or how do you say it?
I mean, I know you're not about to say Alabama.
Hey! Now we got some dogs. Y'all got some dogs now.
I played with George Pickens in Pittsburgh, so I know y'all got some dogs.
I'm just gonna say we got some dogs. Okay, where would you say top 3, top 5 states to come from?
I'd say Florida, Texas, Cali, Georgia, and New Orleans.
New Orleans. That's a city.
Hey. Or Louisiana.
Louisiana. Okay, my boy T. Reid, he gonna be happy about that.
Louisiana got some dogs.
They got some dogs. If Alabama ain't in that top 5, we got to be 6. So I'm gonna say.
Bama's in at like 7, 8ish.
7 or 8, okay.
Because then you have like. Yeah, they're like 7 or 8.
Okay. Well,
they're definitely in the top 10. Bama got some dogs.
We got some dogs. Hey.
You're a dog.
I was a dog now. Come on.
Hey, they may not know you were a dog though.
I was a dog now. I'm sitting down now, but I was an athlete in my day.
Yeah, no, you were for sure.
So now that you're preparing and gearing up for season 3, what does your off season look like in the preparation into next season?
Yeah, so I'm right back at it. This upcoming week, just sort of. Getting my body back ready slowly, just ramping it up in terms of, conditioning and strength and stuff like that. And while also, making sure I'm throwing. I train with Yo Murphy down here at House of Athlete, and someone that I've trained with since I was, 14, 15 years old. So, I trust everyone over there in terms of like, they know what it takes to get me ready. Even though I don't want to go out in 105-degree weather and run like 110s on the track.
But it's hot here, dude.
Hey, I know you feel the heat here.
It's different, bro.
It's different. Like I try to get all my lifts done in the morning, so I have this sort of the rest of the day. But yeah, man, just sort of it's you have to have a good balance because once we get to camp, it's straight football 24/7 for the rest of the year. So. I've figured out my routine of, sort of like making sure I'm getting my work done, but also, spending good time, with my family, friends, golfing. I was telling you before, like, I love golf now, so I've been playing a bunch of golf. So just doing things that I enjoy, and
Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, Monday Night
tight.
Raw. That was something too. That was a cool little experience. So just doing things that I enjoy, off the field, and having a good time with it.
Peat.
Three Peat, man. That's all we're focused on, man. 3-peat.
I know that.
I gotta be sitting here next year with you, just like this.
Yeah, like this. And you gotta, next time we sit down with Chris, gonna hope there's 3 rings. You gotta bring all the rings.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm waiting. I need this because two's cool.
Two's cool.
Three though, I may have to come.
That's history, right?
That's history. So
history.
That's what we're going for, man.
I'm gonna end with this because I kind of skipped over it, and you mentioned a little bit, Coach Reid.
Yeah.
So I'm an Eagles fan.
It's tough.
I'm a KC fan because you're on the team. You're on the team.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
But I've grown up an Eagles fan, and the times I was an Eagles fan, Coach Reid was a coach, and I've always respected him. What has it been like learning and being under somebody with his caliber and just an overall great person?
He's a legend, man. The amount of knowledge he has it's insane. I've never met someone with that great of a football mind ever in my life. Like I said, playing with Pat, like I'm very fortunate that Coach Reid has trusted me to be in that room and sort of just learn from him, and how to be a pro, how to be a good efficient quarterback in this league. He's someone that even 15, like he's making sure everyone's accountable. If you're messing up, he's going to tell you why and how to fix it. Mm-hmm. And you see the plays that we come up with and all the names for him, like that's him. Like he's doing all that stuff, and he's got a creative mind, and off the field too, like you said, great person, great family. So I can't say enough good things about Coach Reid. I owe Coach Reid a lot because obviously he's trusts me to keep me around and be a part of this organization. So
as athletes, we always remember the great coaches that have helped us, guide us along the way.
Yeah,
so
every time he's definitely in my eyes he's the greatest for sure.
Shout out to Coach Reid, the GOAT, man.
Yeah, shout out to him, man.
Well, Chris, I appreciate you sitting down with us, man. I'm glad we were able to get this going. This has been like 2 years in the works, ever since we started.
It really has been.
Yeah.
When you first started, I was like, nah, we got to hop on a podcast. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. And then obviously I was sort of busy. You were doing your thing. So for you to come down here, I was like, yeah.
I was just waiting for you to get 2 Super Bowl rings, man.
That's what it was.
That's what it was, bro.
It drives up the viewership, right?
Yeah, bro. Well, shoot, I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No, this you gotta love Florida, man. You got your fishing catfish. I know what you're gonna use, but nah, it's so dope to get to play with them. Knowing Michael Hires, he was down here training.
$2 bucks?
Nah,